Everyone, welcome. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to let everyone get settled in. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to just go over a quick few housekeeping items. So we have Spencer and Danny joining us today, and we're going to have them talk for about 20 minutes and then open it up for 20 minutes for your questions. Definitely feel free to put your questions in the chat or unmute and ask us your question. And we'll do our best to get to all your questions today. But if we don't have time, then definitely please join us at Maddie's Pet Forum, where we can continue the conversations. Please say hi to us. Let us know where you're from and your name in the chat. My name's Amber, and my pronouns are she, hers, and I'm a grant specialist at Maddie's Fund. I'm going to turn it over to Gina to introduce our speakers today, Spencer and Danny. And Gina is from Michelson Found Animals Foundation, who is one of the founding partners for this challenge. So hi, Gina. Good morning still for you, right?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock in Hamilton, Montana. Hello, everybody. Today we have quite the not the audience, you're the audience. We have quite the audience too, but our speakers are exciting and really well versed in what we're going to be talking about and creating partnerships with other animal welfare organizations. I think it should be noted that Spencer Conover, who is speaking today, is calling us from Disney World. That is how dedicated he is to the work that we're doing. Spencer's the Assistant Director for PASCO County Animal Services and oversees an organization that operates animal control for 7 local municipalities. Whew, that's a lot. And all the unincorporated areas of PASCO County. If you can hear hammering, I have construction workers on the 2nd floor. I'm so sorry. Spencer is a certified animal control officer, certified humane euthanasia tech in the states of Florida, Colorado, and Utah. Before working for PASCO, he served as the Regional Adoption Center Supervisor with Best Friends Animal Society, Customer Care Manager with Dumb Friends League, and the Director of Operations with the Humane Society of Utah. Wow, that's a lot, Spencer. Thanks for being here today and giving up a little bit of your Disney vacation. And with Spencer, we have Danielle Giroux, who's best known as Danny the Cat Lady, who's been dedicated to saving the most vulnerable animal lives in our community for 10 plus years. I think most of us might have seen her before. Through her volunteer work at various municipal shelters and nonprofit organizations, she discovered her passion in life. And 2 years ago, she founded her own nonprofit animal shelter that she currently runs in Port Richey, Florida, called the Runaways Animal Rescue. Thank you both for joining us. Can't wait for this conversation to start. Spencer, are you going first to talk?
Yeah, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth, Gina. Thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
And Spencer, while you're doing that, Danny, you came in with Spencer's name, so I renamed you to Danny the Cat Lady. I hope that's okay. That was what it said in your bio.
Thank you.
Cool. Welcome, everybody. Once again, my name is Spencer Conover. I am with Pasco County Animal Services, currently serving as the Assistant Director. With me is Danny Giroux. She is a true lifesaver, and I want to get to her in just a moment. But some quick stuff about us. I'll burn through this because Gina and Nep did such an incredible job at introducing us today. I know I look like I'm 17 years old, but I've been in this industry quite a long time. I love the work that I do because the work that I do, I always joke that if I'm touching an animal, somebody's not doing their job. But it really means it's because I am not in charge of the animals. I get to be in charge of the people, which is the favorite absolute part of my job. I get to create such an incredible team, and you guys are going to learn about that team today. And on top of our team is the external team, which is our partnerships. And Danny is one of those wonderful partners that we've made, and a great example of the partnerships that we've created with our organization. And hopefully we can help your organizations and around the country kind of generate the same system that we have. And so our journey kind of starts here at Pasco County Animal Services in 2018. I joined the organization and they were doing pretty good. They had an 87% save rate. Not a lot of animals were dying because of time and space. Not a lot of animals were dying because of medical reasons, but we knew there was room for improvement. We had the University of Florida Shelter Medicine team. We're very blessed to have them just up the street from us, about an hour and a half from our shelter. And Cameron Moore and her team came into our organization. Once again, a partnership. Hey, we said, hey, we think we're doing a good job, but we can probably do more. And so that's first and foremost. What I'll say is, before we talk about any of their partnerships, is that was one of the first ones. We reached out and said, hey, we think we're doing a good job. Our save rate's kind of good. but come tell us how we're doing. And so the University of Florida shelter medicine team came in and said, yep, you're saving a lot of animals, but here's the things you guys are doing wrong. At the time, we had a length of stay of about 28 and a half days, almost 30 days in our shelter. We are also sending approximately 80% of our animals out of our shelter through our adoption program. 80% of our live outcomes were going through our adoption program. What that meant was our adoption program was very fruitful, but we were trying to do it all ourselves. And the Fort Sumter of our kind of switch to a new program was we had a dog in our shelter named Diamond. And Diamond celebrated, sadly, a year in our shelter. And the team, they were new and they really wanted to try to get Diamond adopted. And they threw Diamond a party for being in the shelter a year. And I kind of got really mad at that. And I don't really get mad a lot. And those of you that know me on this call know I don't get mad a lot. But that really upset me. No dog should be celebrated for being in a cage, sleeping on concrete for a year. And that was where we really made the switch. And we realized we could not save dogs like Diamond. We could not save cats in our care that have been there for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months by ourselves. And we really need to create those partnerships. And so what we did was we started with rescue transfer. And the first thing we did was say, we are going to reduce all barriers to life-saving in our organization, and that includes our rescue transfer program. And this is going to be shocking to some people, but rescue partners can come in and take any animal in our shelter. They're going to be spayed and neutered, they're going to be vaccinated, they're going to be microchipped, they're going to be dewormed, they're going to get radiology, urinalysis, blood work, whatever medical resources that we have access for our adopters, our rescue groups are going to get that. And so there's no fees charged to those rescue groups. They also have access to our public low-cost vaccination clinic that's open to rescue partners. Normally, we kind of had it in mind just for the public, but if there's spots open, our rescue groups are coming in. And Danny, I kind of want to kick it to you. That was the first shift we really made, was kind of saying that, hey, there's counties around us and municipalities around us that will restrict what animals are able to go to rescue partners, and we'll put limits on, hey, a rescue group can't take an animal out until it's been here for 14 days, or they'll even charge rescue groups. Danny, kind of what has it meant to your organization at Runaways as one of our partners for the success of your organization to say that, hey, I can go to PASCO and I know I'm going to be able to rescue these animals and they're going to help me out both financially and medically?
I mean, it's meant a lot to us because we go weekly to the shelter, we pull dogs, we pull cats, and we know that they're going to be fully vetted. And then we get them out of the shelter so then they can go and save more lives. And then that helps us with our financial burden of having to pay to vet these animals, especially with like medically hard cases, ones that take long-term care and treatment. So that takes the burden off of us. The other day we pulled a dog named Caden who needed an ACL surgery, and that's a pretty costly surgery. And so typically we would get an animal like that. We'd be fundraising and posting, trying to get donations, but Pasco County Animal Services has a nonprofit called Friends of Pasco County Animal Services, and they covered that surgery. So we were able to pull Caden, give him the surgery that he needed and get him safe. And so we're just really thankful for these partnerships, because we wouldn't be able to save as many animals without Pasco County being able to help us.
And we love it too, because a dog like Caden, 3, 4, 5 years ago would have been euthanized. Mm-hmm. And now currently, if we didn't have a great partner like Danny and her organization to rescue the dog, it would have sat in our cages for 6, 8, 9 months before it got rescued. When we look at things like, hey, we're providing these medical resources, and yeah, they're getting fully vaccinated animals, fully ready to go animals. They love it. Your organization loves it because you can you can get that animal out very quickly. And we love it because Danny's back next week getting more, which is amazing. And she's back every single week, which we absolutely love. So you can kind of see where our organization went from 2017. And then in 2018, when we had that shelter medicine team come in and do an analysis, shelter assessment for us. These are our rescue transfer numbers compared to our adoption numbers. As recently as this year, we are now, I told you, almost 80% of our live outcomes in 2017 were through the adoption program. That is down to just 23% of our animals are leaving through our adoption program now. And that has a lot to do with not only the rescue transfer program, but an increase in return to owners, which is partnerships in the community, and our veterinary transfer program, which is absolutely incredible. And then our trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, which is absolutely incredible as well. So with that, we knew we had to get animals out of the shelter faster, right? And that was our main goal. That was everything that came out of it. But what we didn't know was the secondary stuff that was going to come along with it. You can see that first one. That's where we were really tasked with. In 2018, they came in and said, hey, your length of stay is crazy. You need to get it down. We had a length of stay of 28 and a half days. Here in 2021, we have a length of stay at our organization of just 3.1 days. To put that in perspective, we have to hold dogs for 3 days legally. And so we're getting most of our animals out before the legal hold of an animal in our care, which is really, really cool. Cats have no legal stray hold in Pasco County. And so great organizations, great partnerships, organizations like Runaways and Danny, they can come right in, take those cats minutes, hours after they come in. They're in and out of our shelter. That length of stay is a matter of moments. The other things that have kind of come out of this, and a lot of our team, I will tell you this right now, was very, very concerned at first. You can't give these animals away for free. Oh my gosh, the rescue groups are taking us. You know, we're gonna have no money to do any of these medical things. If you look at that top right one, that's been a big one for us. I'll ask any organization that's afraid to give rescue animals away to or animals away to rescue organizations. I'll ask you this: have you run a promotion of buy one, get one, name your price, waived adoption fee in the last 3 years? Our organization has not. We are getting animals out of our care so fast. The only waived adoption fee promotion we have participated in since 2018 is Clear the Shelters. And that's because we want to participate that, and we really believe in nationally supporting that. But we have not offered a single name your price, free black cats this weekend, you know, free adoption fee. We haven't done any of that. And so you can look at what the result of that is. Because our cages are so empty, we're able to collect full adoption fees on 7-year-old pit bulls and black adult cats. And so what happens is, yes, we're giving a vast majority of our animals to rescue organizations, but the ones that we are adopting out, we're collecting full adoption fees. And so our overall revenue has not dropped at all. And even in some years, like 2019, went up, which is pretty incredible. And then you can see what it's done for our save rate. In 2018, like I mentioned, it was really good, but then it's a lot better now. We're up over 90% consistently, and we're really, really proud of that number. Some other partnerships that we've had in the community, and what I said, we started with our rescue transfer program, but we're super, super proud of all the partnerships that we have here in Pasco County. And one of the things we're really blessed with is we are part of the Public Services Department of Pasco County. We're not a part of public safety. We're not a part of the sheriff's office. We're not a part of code enforcement. We're a part of public services. And so when we wake up and we come into every day, our goal is service excellence. And that's the goal of every department in public services, whether it's with animals or not. And so we have the opportunity to partner with a lot of great organizations in public services. And I would suggest that even if your organization is not, reach out to these places. We partner with now Go Pasco, used to be called Pasco County Public Transportation. But when a hurricane comes through here in Florida, or natural disaster, and individuals need to get taken to emergency hurricane shelters, we partner with Pasco County Public Transportation to load those buses up with animal transport carriers, and so that people can get safely on the bus with their cats and dogs to the hurricane trailers. We have offered free microchip clinics at multiple Pasco County facilities, including our senior services offices, our location, Pasco County Public Transportation. We've partnered with those guys to say, hey, can we use your parking lot on a Saturday and give out some free microchips? And they said, absolutely, of course. We've partnered with a couple of different Pasco County libraries locations to do kitten yoga, and just bringing awareness about kitten adoption, spay and neuter, and then an awesome yoga opportunity with them. We partner every summer with the Parks Recreation and Natural Resources Department to do educational summer camps about safe animal handling and proper animal care, proper animal ownership. And then we're currently partnering with our cooperative extension department, which is a partnership with the University of Florida, to create sensory gardens in areas around our shelter. You know, our campus was great, but we wanted to make it prettier, and we wanted to make it better, not only for the animals and the people. And so we reached out and said, hey, cooperative extensions department, this is what you guys do for a living. You want to come out and teach us how to make a garden? And they said, absolutely. And so we're really, really proud of those partnerships. Some external partnerships outside of the county is we do operate our spay, neuter, and PASCO program, and we partner with 9 to 11, depending on the year, local veterinary partners to offer low-income spay and neuter and trap, neuter, vaccinate, return surgeries for the public. And so when people say, hey, I want to participate in your SNP program, your spay, neuter, and PASCO program, it is our program, but you're going to a local partner, you're going to a local veterinarian and getting that surgery done. We're just funding it, which is great. Donated veterinary procedures. We have a community partnerships and program supervisor, Gina Botticello, who's won many awards, and Danny knows her very, very well. And I was a fairly optimistic person when I came to this role. And Gina blows me out of the water. She makes me look so pessimistic every day because she believes anything can get done. She has gotten so many donated pro bono surgeries from local veterinarians. Like Danny had mentioned, you know, we do pay for some, but every once in a while we'll call up a local partner and say, hey, this dog really needs an ACL repair and we can't afford it. Can you do it for us? And you'll be so amazed how many times they actually say yes. It's absolutely incredible. And then food donations. We partner with local organizations like Sam's Club, Walmart, Pet Supplies Plus to collect donations for a public food bank. And so everybody knows Danny as the cat lady because she has worked so closely, but Danny has dogs at her organization as well. But she is known as the cat lady because she's worked so closely with this spay, neuter, and PASCO program, the SNP program. What is that partnership with the community and with us meant to your life-saving efforts, Danny?
It's been huge. I've always been a big advocate for TNVR. I have been for probably the last decade, because obviously if you fix cats in the community, then less cats are going to come into the shelters and they're going to be happier and healthier, vaccinated, living their lives. So that program has been detrimental to us to be able to fix cats in the community, to keep the numbers down at the local shelter, but as well as our own shelter. But also the low income program for spay and neuter. We get a lot of calls and emails daily from people who want our assistance in helping fix their cats and dogs because they can't afford to. So it's nice to have this program in our county to be able to give them the resources and be like, here, you can go to these vet partners. Here's how you sign up. Here's how you can get your pets fixed for cheap. So it's really been detrimental to us.
I think one of the things we look at, especially with the SNP program, with the food bank, with all the procedures and partnerships we have, is people call us all the time and they say, can you do this for us? And the answer is no, but we never want to say no, right? We want to say no, but here's where you can go. No, here's who you can call. No, here's how you can get your resources. And when it comes to surrendering your pet or rehoming your pet or getting your pet fixed or getting your pet vaccinations or getting your pet a microchip, if you call our organization, we're probably not going to be able to help you with that, but we're going to find a partner that does, right? And that's kind of our mission right there. We also partner nationally. This has been huge for us. There is not a logo on this page here that has not offered us not only financial support, but moral and emotional and structural support as well. The main point of this page I want to really point out to everyone here is our organization for a long time tried to do it ourselves, and we were doing fairly good. But we weren't doing as good as we could until we really set the bar high with creating these partnerships in the community, both locally, regionally, and especially now nationally. These organizations are all huge for us and they're huge partners for us. And we love being a part of that community now. And then where do we go from here, right? Is what does the future hold? We sit in a meeting and we'll sit there and say, hey, who should we be partnering with? Should we be partnering with the Red Cross to get more information for hurricane stuff? Should we be partnering with other national organizations? Should we be looking outside of animal welfare in general, right? Like, who are we not partnering with that could help us out with saving animals' lives that don't typically save animals' lives as an organization? And so I put that to everybody else, but we're always constantly looking. Danny, what do you think as far as future partnerships?
I mean, really, there's so many. Ones that I thought of was Red Cross. You had just said that.
Yeah.
We live in a state with hurricanes, and so any sort of disaster. But I know the ASPCA has a bunch of disaster relief programs, and Humane Society as well. And I believe Pasco County, you already partner with both of those. Another one that for me maybe is still in animal welfare would be like TNVR like organizations who focus solely on that. I know that Alley Cat Allies does these feline frenzies where they come in and they teach workshops about TNVR for the community, so the community can understand what it is and not just be like, why are these cats in my front yard? Like, yep. Why are all these cats here? And kind of educate them that you can do something to help the animals in your community. I think that would be a good partnership.
Absolutely. And I really look at, for us, a great example of that is our Facebook group. Like, just one example of our social media has 40,000 followers, and that's great. It's a good, hefty social media page. But we have almost 600,000 people in our county, right? And so when we talk on Facebook, we talk to those 40,000 people. We're talking to 8.5% of our population in the community. And so we need to really continue as we create these partnerships and create these life-saving changes, looking outside of our animal welfare bubble, right? And how do we continue to do that? But I used to work in radio and TV, and that is 20 minutes on the dot. I know how to hit a deadline. So we will now, unless Danny has anything else, we will kick it out to questions.
Spencer, Danny, thank you both so much. We do have a couple of questions in the chat, but what I see is friendship between you, mutual respect. You know what I mean? You're connected, not just for the cause, but I think you like each other as human beings. and it just really, but that's important if we want to have really strong relationships between shelters and rescues. And, I congratulate you for that, because I can feel it.
Yeah. So. And I think that, it really comes down to the environment. And Danny, you can kind of back this up, but we really have a family vibe going on at PASCO, right? Compared to, I don't want to compare us to anybody else, but, our pet services supervisor now, our community partnerships and program supervisor, all the rescue partners are her friends, and she calls them her friends, and she treats them like her friends. And when they come, it's like a celebration. And when we have rescue partner meetings, it is a celebration, and it's them sharing in this life-saving journey with us, which is really, really cool. For us to send 2,200 animals a year to rescue groups and then say, look at all we saved. Like, no, we didn't save them. Danny's team saved them, right? And so we have to include them in that. We have to.
Awesome. There was a question about when you mentioned cold calling a local vet, asking for help with an ACL or what have you. But in today's world, with veterinary officers being overworked and scheduling appointments way out, how's that working for you? It's
been slower, no question. I mean, we're all facing it, right? I think when you look at where our SNP, especially our SNP TNVR program was before COVID, 2018, 2019, we were seeing $140,000 to $170,000 a year out of that program in expenses. And now the director, myself, Mike, who's on the call. Hey, Mike, we saw last year, I think it was only $65,000 expensed. And, we're seeing these ancillary programs that veterinarians are having, we're seeing those cut, which is rough, but it's important for us to never stop trying. I think for all of you out there, when I moved to the county, there's 97 vet clinics in Pasco County. I was like, there's no way, like it's only 750 square miles. Like there's 97 vet clinics. So if you are currently working with 2 or 3 and they're not able to help you, don't give up, right? Don't give up, keep making phone calls. The thing for us is, we take in 7,500 animals a year. We take in probably, what Danny, like 300 to 400 litters of kittens. So if I don't need 2 vet clinics to take 200 litters of kittens, I need each of the vet clinics to take 2. Right? I don't need you to do 9 ACL repairs in a year. Can you get me 1? And then it's our job to move to the next one and the next one and create more and more and more and more partnerships rather than leaning so heavily on 1 or 2.
Yeah, excellent response.
Yeah.
So another question about adoption fees and how you indicated you don't waive fees, you haven't had to. So how important are adoption fees to your operating revenue? Do you notice any unintended consequences like barriers to adoption by not offering alternatives to charging adoption fees?
No, I mean, our length, the story is in the length of stay. Our length of stay has gone from 28.5 days down to 3.1 days. There's times a year we can't keep dogs in our shelter. And there's still a handful of dogs with behavior issues that remain and medical issues that remain, but that's on us to get those dogs out. It's not good enough for us to say, oh, you know what, that dog barks at the kennel constantly and constantly and constantly. Let's waive his adoption fee and see if that helps. No, the dog's still going to bark at the kennel constantly. Like, you got to get that dog out of there. Right. And so these for us, that was it was also kind of a lazier way out of saying like, oh, this is the way that people are going to make a decision that's going to affect the next 15 years of their life. And the average cost of owning an animal from 1 to 10 years old is like something like 11 grand or something. The study came out. So like your $50 adoption fee is going to make the difference. No way, man. You got to start looking elsewhere. Yeah. Absolutely. And our adoption revenue accounts for approximately 8.5% of our annual revenue goal. We're looking at various ways right now outside of the rescue partner side of this. We're looking at ways right now to get rid of it altogether, right? Like, let's go find another 80 grand in revenue somewhere else and then just say, yep, waived adoptions all year round. And then that's once again another tool, but we don't want to rely on that.
Right. I always thought that, because this is what we did in Sacramento when I first became the shelter director, that you just don't charge rescues, right? Because they're investing so much money, especially with the medical, the seniors, the harder cases. And I was really surprised to learn that there are shelters still charging rescues exorbitant amounts of money to pull a dog or a cat, and then they can't figure out why it's not really helping them, right? They're not.
And Danny can attest to this one, right? We, in the beginning, in 2018, 2019, there was a lot of pushback, especially internally from staff. Like, no, stop giving away to rescues. We get literal lab puppies in, right? And you're like, oh, a rescue's going to scoop them up in 1 second. Good, take them, get them out of the shelter. I don't want them to get sick. But well, we could adopt those out. But what they're not looking at is the big picture, right? Danny comes and takes the altered, vaccinated, microchipped litter of golden retriever puppies, and she can get them out that day. And then Danny's collecting all of that adoption revenue, right? Adoption revenue. Now she can turn around and take the dog with the ACL repair because now she's got money to fix the ACL, right? Exactly. And so if you're only allowing your rescue, and Danny, I want you to talk on this too. If you're only allowing your rescue organizations to take your super sick and you're super aggressive, then you're only going to take a couple of years because that's all they can afford. Right, Danny?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we probably wouldn't pull as many dogs if we had, or cats, if we had to pay to vet them all and all that, because we have all that just coming in off, the streets, that we pay for. So, I mean, I don't even understand how a shelter could charge you to take a dog or a cat, because how would they expect you to be able to help if you had to do that, when rescues already spend so much money taking care of the animals that they already have.
Danny, can you talk, I'm presuming that you actually go to PASCO physically, correct?
Yep.
Talk about that family feel. How do they make you feel when you go there? I think this is really important for those of us that may not have developed strong, true friendships with our rescue groups.
Yeah, it's like a team, and it is like a family. Like he was saying, Gina, she's like the rescue coordinator. She is my friend. She's somebody that I consider my friend. And so when I go there, I know everybody at the front counter and customer service. I know the techs, I know Gina. And so it really is like a family, feeling when you go there, and that you know that you're helping them, but that they're helping me too, when we go there. So it's a really great relationship. I pull from other municipal shelters in the other surrounding counties, and I'll say it's not like that, which is why I keep going to PASCO. And plus it's my own community, right? That's the community that I want to help, the one that we are in. But it really is, truly everybody there is amazing.
And being in public service is one of our county core values is service excellence. We have to give service excellence, but that doesn't just mean the people coming in to adopt, it's everybody. And that's Danny's group. And that's internally, that's rescue partners. It's our IT guys. When our IT guys come and want to fix the computer, like, everybody gets service excellence, and that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. And as you can see, the results are there, right? Like our adoption, our save rate is up, our length of stay is down, our revenue is up, like everything, it works.
Spencer, do you have regular, maybe, I don't know, is it quarterly meetings with your rescue partners? Do you do that?
Quarterly, yeah. Yeah, it's been a little rough. Danny will tell you, it's been a little rough with COVID. Obviously, we've had to cancel for a while, but we just had a huge one, and this speaks to partnerships. This is the first one we've done offsite. Our Pasco County library system just opened a brand new library and theater in Starkey Reserve in local Pasco and right in the Trinity area. And we went on a trip one day to like see this facility with the county, and you're like, oh, you can rent this out. And I'm like, yep, we're gonna. And so we partnered with them, and we got to showcase a great partnership between us and libraries. And we invited all of our rescue groups. We had representatives from Best Friends Animal Society, our Friends of Animal Services group, Human Animal Support Services, all come in to talk to the rescue partners. And one of the best things that we did out of that was at the end of the meeting, it was 10 or 15 minutes, Danny, of what do you guys need from us, right? Because there's so many times where the shelter is saying, we need the rescues, we need the rescues, we need the rescues. Well, what do you guys need from us in order to do better, to better help our organization? And one thing that came out of it was, hey, adoptions are down right now, and we're struggling a little bit. And so Gina, of all people, said, okay, well, you guys, all the animals that you pulled from us, bring them all back to the shelter on Saturday, November 13th, right? This coming Saturday, right? Then? Yep. Saturday. And we're going to hold a massive adopt-a-thon where all the rescues are going to post up in our parking lot. We partnered with our media relations team to do a press release. We partnered with our social teams and with the county, and we're going to do a huge adopt-a-thon where we're going to partner with the rescue organizations and not just say, it's not just good enough for us to say, yep, they're in rescue, we're good to go. We need to make sure those animals get adopted too, so that organizations like Danny's can come back and get more.
That's awesome. And the average consumer really doesn't discern the difference between all of you, right? It's a cat, it's a dog,
when
it's a
people
rabbit.
come to our shelter, they don't know if it's a rescue group, a volunteer, a staff member, a director, an animal care tech, they don't know, right? They don't know. It's just life-saving.
But what they do know is how you make them feel while they're there. And you hit on it before. It's not just about our customers, who are there to adopt, but it's how we treat our volunteers, how we treat our rescue partners, the whole package. There were a couple of comments I don't want to ignore. They weren't questions necessarily, but about the importance of partnering with domestic violence organizations, mental health workers, emergency response organizations. And it's I think really a beautiful thing that shelters are starting to do that now. I'm presuming, Spencer, that you have relationships with those types of organizations too.
100%. Yeah, we have 2 organizations specifically in Pasco County that are domestic violence survivors, and we partner very closely with them. Mike actually I'm sure I saw Mike on the phone. I think he was just on the call with her now because that was a call we had this afternoon. One of the issues that we're having with their organization is the concept of I need to take the animal to the shelter. The shelter is still a place where an animal can contract infectious disease, an animal can be stressed. And so we want to make sure the animal is safe, but we don't necessarily want the animal in the shelter. And so we're currently looking at other options for, can we house animals at your location where it's less stress, so the pet can be with the pet owner. You know, we see all the time. We had one last week where, you know, it was a domestic violence situation, and the little boy just did not want to be without the dog, right, until they could find additional housing. But so can we set up kennels and dog park areas and things at those locations where they're temporarily being housed until they find permanent housing, rather than taking the animal in the shelter, right? So there's different ways where, create that partnership, and then boom, let's grow on it, right? It's never done.
Yeah, and it also is an option to consider creating a foster team that specifically fosters those pets. You know, or people that are going into rehab, for example, for 90 days. They don't want to give up their animals. So having them in a private home where there's different foster contracts is another option for folks.
Absolutely.
Pepper me with those questions.
Yeah, what other
folks.
questions you guys got? Danny too. She just opened a shelter. If anybody has any questions for her, she just opened one.
Danny, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your shelter. I'm curious to know more. I mean, opening a shelter now in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it was super challenging, but I like a good challenge. When I first started, to be honest, my nonprofit at the beginning of last year, I expected it to be small. So I was like, I'll just start a nonprofit on my own. I already do this on my own, right? I already foster, I do adoptions in my house. Let me just do it small. And I think because the community that I'm in just had such a need for resources for animals, that it kind of grew. And so we were official March of last year, which is right before the pandemic hit. And so we had one fundraiser, and then it was like, oh no, what are we going to do? But we got support from the community. And before we knew it, my 3 fosters turned into 40 fosters, and we needed to do something. And we were lucky enough to get an old church that we purchased, and we've been renovating it since November of last year. We just finished a few months ago. So we have 16 dog kennels. We have capacity for about 70 to 80 cats. I designed it with, I call them pods, like cat rooms. So cats they're not in cages, they're just freely out in cat pods. But yeah, it's been super challenging, but also super rewarding to see that we were able to do it, that we're still able to do it. And we were able to renovate and get this shelter up and running during a pandemic where you have to be creative in your fundraising and your adoptions and all of that. But yeah.
Very nice. Spencer, do you ever do social media posts thanking or encouraging support to the rescues that help you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Danny can attest to that. Anytime, especially any of our tough medical cases or our tough behavioral cases leave and they go to a particular rescue, they're going to get a shout out. Anytime they're going to help us out with resources or food pantry or anything like that, they're going to get a shout out. We work really hard to make our social media a positive place. We do not ever post on our social media, hey, this animal's been here for a year, it needs to get out. It's a very, very positive place. And there's some members of the community, a little old school mentality where it's, you need to put every adoptable dog on Facebook, and then it's just shouting into the wind, right? And so we utilize our social media as a celebration for look at the good things that we've done. And so anybody that goes to our page is going to see amazing donations by members of the community and amazing partnerships with local veterinary teams and how we're partnering with parks and recreation and libraries and the buses. And they're going to see just a celebration of the good work that the team is doing in the community, and not a lot of, hey, this animal's been sitting here for 6 months. That's on us to figure that out, not on our Facebook followers. There's enough going on in the world. They don't need to come to our page and feel sad, right? They need to feel happy.
Well, people want to feel good when they're on your pages. They want to be part of something that's successful, whether they're going to volunteer, donate, adopt, We want them to feel good because that's what we're here for, right?
Yep. And it
Um,
works too. Like that positivity, it manifests into life-saving. Like I know it's not traditional, but it really does. It really does.
It absolutely does. And I don't know about you, but when I see that sad dog story or a sad cat story, I flip right past it because I don't want to feel worse than I already do sometimes, because this can be a tough business.
Yep.
Melina shared something that I thought was pretty cool. Las Vegas has Shade Tree, which is a women's shelter, and they partner with Noah's Animal Rescue, which happens to be next door. So
Oh,
the
that's cool.
families can be on the same campus. That is
That's
very
really
cool.
Really cool.
Very nice. And then Daryl shared that they have a secret foster network that supports domestic violence agencies in their community. So they're kind of silent partners to protect.
Yeah, that's one thing
staff
that
and pets.
we're balancing right now is we had a setback with our foster program years and years ago where risk management got involved. There was an injury to a member of the community, and so we're bringing back our foster program. But there's still an issue with risk management and sending animals to foster that don't belong to the shelter. And so we're battling that. And I know we've reached out to Kelly about that before, and I'm sure we will again. A couple of things about our rescue group I see in the chat. One of the things about getting animals to rescue, sending 22, I think this past year was almost over 2,200 animals to rescue organizations. Danny can attest, those animals are vaccinated, microchipped, spayed and neutered, dewormed, everything before they leave our organization. And we follow up with darn near every single one of them. There is not an animal that goes to these rescues that we don't know where it ended up. And we have such a close relationship with our rescue partners. We're oftentimes attached in their social media posts about, hey, this animal got adopted here. We call them, Gina, I think calls them their freedom rides. These are on the freedom rides to go home. And so we follow up with those rescue partners so quickly that we know it's not good enough for us to say, oh, once again, it's not good enough for us to say, oh, animals in rescue, it's not our fault, not our problem anymore. We need to follow up and make sure. And as a result of that, we have lost rescue partners. There have been situations where we've had animals in rescue organizations that we felt like, maybe have too many in your house right now. And I don't think we're going to send any to you anymore. And so that's something we monitor very closely. For us, it's not about getting the animal out of the shelter. That's obviously a goal of ours, but we want to make sure it's getting to the area where it needs to go. And we partner so closely with the rescue groups that we're making sure that happens. For sure.
Yeah, I would think too that rescues with good relationships doing strong work are able to market to their helpers, volunteers and donors, that they have a partnership with an animal welfare organization that's also top notch. You know what I mean? Like using each other's excellence for their own benefit. There's totally nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
I want to make sure we get to this. Alexis shared some thoughts, having a long time challenge with negative relationship with some local rescues that don't believe in the shelter's best practices and the fact that they also have to limit due to capacity for care. It says we have steps on some things to try in our strategic plan, but any additional suggestions on positive relationship development would be great.
I mean, Mike can attest to this. In 2017, when Gina took over her role as the pet services supervisor, the rescue groups hated us. We had an awful relationship with rescues, and she went on what she calls now the apology tour. And a lot of the rescue groups that we didn't want to partner with us, they don't, but we had to change that culture. And it meant those one-on-one relationships with the rescue partners. It meant changing what we were able to offer the rescue partners. And it really was a culture change, and it was an apology tour. And it took, 3 full fiscal years to kind of change the program. But the organization's philosophy on rescue transfer from 2017 to 2020 is a complete 180. And it's been some of those organizations that we don't believe in that. You're starting to see with national movements like Human Animal Support Services and what the ASPCA and Best Friends Animal Society are doing. These best practices are popping up more and more. And so if you're an organization that doesn't believe in these best practices, you're going to be left behind for sure.
100%. Another kind of a cool thing is for example, if Danny is having a fundraiser, maybe your friends group buys a table at her event, or you share to your followers whatever her event is, even if it's an adoption event, because you talked about caring about them beyond the animal leaving your doors. And I think that's a really good way to do that.
Well, yeah, and if some rescue organization comes in, it's like, hey, can we put up a flyer for our adoption event this weekend? Like, absolutely. And because if the animals get adopted from there, Danny's going to come to my shelter and get more, right? And so it's all working together, right? And so if Danny comes to our shelter and is like, hey, I want to put up some advertising for our rescue, 100%. If you go to our website right now, there's every rescue partnership every rescue organization that we partner with, their logo's on our website, right?
Nice.
And you can go there, and all their contact information, a link to their website, a link to their adoptable animals are all on our website.
Yeah, if you can't find an animal here with us, try these.
Go find
Try
somewhere
these
else.
folks.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Our goal is to
Before-
hopefully not have enough animals. So we have to push them
Yeah,
up to the rescue
no
organizations
kidding.
to find one, right?
Before we run out of time, this is more of a fun question. Talk a little more about kitten yoga. How does that work?
Oh, kitten yoga's cake. We got approached by the libraries team. Once again, we're in public services, so we partner with libraries really, really closely. And they had one of their librarians, or library tech 2 or something like that, was a certified yoga instructor. And so she started doing, like, once a month, they were doing yoga at the library. And we were like partnering with them one day doing another event. Maybe it was like in conjunction with parks or something. They're like, hey, have you ever heard of goat yoga? And we're like, yeah. Like, what did you think about kitten yoga? And so what they do is they provide the venue. It's at the library. They provide the instructor. The people bring their own mats. We literally just go over with a litter of kittens and let them run around during yoga. And then, you know, we have adoption paperwork available if anybody wants to place a hold or anything like that. But it's been really successful. We haven't been able to do it because of COVID, but we got really ramped up with it before COVID, and we're hoping to bring it back soon. But
Sounds
it
like
was
a
a lot
lot
of fun.
of fun.
It was super cute because, like, they were saying, like, you would imagine, like, regular yoga would get like 6 to 8 people, and like they had to cap it at 30 people for kitten yoga because they're like, oh, kittens running around, it's amazing. So
And
it was a
kittens
lot
are
of
so
fun.
cool. Kittens
Yes.
don't pee and poo in public typically.
Yes.
So it's,
Yes.
you know, a lot better than puppies.
Puppies, man, puppies are gross. Puppies are gross. They're cute, but they're gross. Danny, you can attest to that, right? With the
I don't have puppy energy.
So Danny, you don't have any more animals in your house anymore?
Well, I do.
Yeah, come on.
I still foster. I know. But I tend to now, I take like the more, like anyone who has special care. Like I have a kitten who was actually from PASCO County who had to have her leg amputated, and she was only like 4 weeks old. So I have her, and I have a couple special needs fosters because, you know, I can't stop that even
Can't
though.
stop.
Can't stop. But no puppies.
Did we do that leg amp, or did we send that out?
You did it. Yeah. I think Dr. Glenn did it.
Cool.
Yeah. And that, you know, that just speaks volumes of getting along, working together for the same mission. And if we could just get all the shelters in this country to have relationships with their rescues like you two seem to, just imagine that for a moment. You know, it's rhetorical. I don't need an answer, but life would be pretty darn good.
It would. Well, thank you, guys.
Amber, do you have any questions or anything that you want to add to this great conversation?
No, this was great. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you, Spencer and Danny, for joining us and sharing about your partnership and the work that you do in Florida. That is great. I was thinking about reaching out to the San Francisco Public Transportation Department after this and talking to them about allowing more animals on, because that is a huge issue here too. And we're an earthquake zone, so, you know, also disasters. But yeah, this was great. If anyone wants to continue the talk, especially I think with the domestic violence and the people, you know, who are experiencing temporary homelessness or rehab or hospitalization, and fostering and those partnerships, that's a great conversation for the forum to share your ideas there. So yeah, I think ending on the idea of the partnership between your organizations is a great way to end it. So I'll say thank you, Danny and Spencer, for joining us. Thank you, Gina, for hosting such a great conversation. And thank you to the rest of you for spending some time with us this morning or this afternoon. We'd love to see you on Thursday, the 11th. We're going to talk more about partnerships, but this is going to focus on community organizations. And we're going to have Jorge from Guilford County and Rochelle from Partners Ending Homelessness. So, you know, again, very smooth transition of what we're talking about into the next huddle. So please, everyone, take good care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we look forward to seeing you back here on Thursday. Thanks, Spencer and Danny. Thanks,
Thank
Gina.
you.
Enjoy
Everyone,
Disney
thank you.
World.
Thank you.
Yeah, have
Yeah,
fun,
we'll do.
Spencer.